Yes guys, welcome back to another Q&A. We are in Miami, so this is the first Q&A and the first video that you guys have seen of me in Miami. I'm going to be answering all of you guys' questions. You've asked me loads and tons of questions all over Instagram, so I'm going to get to answering them right now. Inside this video, we're also going to be going over the key secrets that you need in order to be profitable trading iced tea concepts. They're not exactly secrets, however, they are things that you need to know, and you may not already know this. So we're going to go over that inside of this video. You may find this video useful. If you do, make sure to drop a like and a comment on what you want to see inside of the next video. And before we start the video, boys, let's crack open a Red Bull so we lock in for this Q&A. All right, so we've got quite a few interesting questions here, and I do love to answer you guys' questions because once upon a time I was in your position. Whether you're doing better than myself or whether you're back where I used to be, in the warehouse, working a job, 12-hour shifts, I've been there, and honestly, it was not the life that I wanted. It's not what I want to be doing on a daily basis. And I've seen people turning up for work religiously, and I was like, you're 40 years old, you're 30 years old, and it doesn't make any sense to me, and I couldn't see myself doing it for another 10 years. I'm the type of guy that if I don't make it within the next 2 to 3 years, making some sort of money, some sort of business, then I'm either gonna go insane or end up dead in some alleyway or some crazy shit. And someone's asked an important question. How much money did you make to feel like you actually made it in trading? So I had a small group of friends in Bournemouth in the UK, that's where I'm from, and we always said, as long as we can make $100 a day online, that was the goal. So even when I was working the job, I always had ambitions to get to the top level, but I never had ambitions to the point where it's completely deluded. All I wanted was freedom. I was sick of working the job, and I said, if I can just exchange the money I make from the job and just make a basic £100 a day online from any sort of business, I was willing to do e-com, selling t-shirts, clothing brands, any business you can name. I've tried it and I've failed at it. So trust me, I'm not one who's new to failure. I've failed in all realms of business, everything. The point where I actually felt like I made it in trading is when I flew out of the UK. So guys, this is a very, very important aspect. As soon as you see potential in yourself and you start making your first few hundred, your first few thousand, tens of thousands, and the money starts rolling in, do not be hesitant to fly out of your home country. This is the number one thing, especially your parents' house. The number one thing in order to grow and expand, and I've seen it with all of my friends as well, because they was with their family a lot longer than I was. I was out of there. As soon as I started making even a small amount of money, I got my first payout, I stayed in the job. My second payout from funded accounts, I was out of there. I literally flew out, I went straight to the other side of the world, and that was the best move that I ever made. And that's really what, put the pressure on me in order to actually expand and grow my capital and make more money from trading in the long term than if I was just at my parents' house, kind of comfortable, because you don't have to pay rent, you're not really a full-grown man. And it's not just all about money as well, it's also about developing yourself as a character, developing yourself as a man, or even if you're a female, in fact, it's the same thing, right? And developing your character cannot happen to the same extent if you are in your parents' house. It's very important to go all in on yourself. As soon as you see yourself start making a little bit of money, or even if you know you're gonna make money, because say you save up 10K or 20K and you know you're gonna make money, you know you're gonna make this work, of course you're gonna make this work, then fly out. Go somewhere where it's reasonable. Obviously don't fly to Miami straight away. You build up to this level, but start somewhere small, grow and become big. Guys, you're gonna become big 100%. But that's when I started feeling I made it in trading, when I could have that freedom aspect to do basically what I want and not relying on a job. Bro, can I make it without trading prop firms, just brokers, using your rules though? 100%. So you don't actually have to trade prop firms. However, it is a little glitch in the trading space as of now, as it's still around. Maybe in the future, prop firms will go away, they will get banned, and who knows how long they're gonna be around for, but I'm milking the shit out of them. I'm taking payout after payout after payout, and the reason why prop firms are a glitch in the system is because, for example, I have a $200,000 live account, and that does not equivalent any day of the week to how much money I make across all of my prop firm accounts. The amount of money I make through my prop accounts, Apex, Topstep and FTMO, is 100 times greater than what I make on my live account. And it's taken me time to build up my live account, because I don't just chuck in 100K, 100K, 100K into my live account. I started relatively small because I came from a point of little to no money in my bank account, and I managed to grow my live account over a period of time. And when I first started my live, it was around $2.5 to $5,000. And over time, yes, I have deposited 10, 20K here and there, but I've not been depositing hundreds and hundreds of K. I would say 75% of my current balance is profit, and that's built over around a year and a half of trading consistently without breaking my rules, without breaking risk management, sticking to one strategy and not strategy hopping from one to another, and that's what's got me to where I am today. And a lot of you, you're in a situation where you want to make money, right? I want to make money. If there's an opportunity for me to make money, I'm making money. And it's the same for you guys. Everyone's the same. There's no difference between me and you. We're the exact same person. So when it comes down to psychology and you taking a trade and you breaking your rules to think that you can make more money because you broke your rules and going outside of the rules. Rules are rules, you know? If you was to break them and make more money, then that would be a rule. The rules are in place for you to make the most amount of money. This is what a lot of people don't understand. So following the correct risk management, not over leveraging, that's in place so you actually make money. Having patience and waiting for your model, that is in place so you actually take clean setups and actually make money instead of getting stopped out of low probability trades which are not going to work out in your favor. Can you make more day in the life videos and more vlogs? 100%. I've actually got a banging vlog. It's currently getting edited. I sent it off to my editor and it's going to be absolutely insane. It's unreleased footage, you guys have not seen it. It was filmed around 2 to 3 weeks ago, but I tell you now, it is a banging vlog. Stay tuned for that, it's gonna be released on the channel. That shit's gonna blow up. And also I've just filmed a day in the life vlog in Miami. Basic day in the life, no fluff, no bullshit. You know me guys, I film a basic day in the life. Just actually what my day in the life is. Not picking up 10 Rolexes, not buying 5 houses in one day, you know, actual day in the life. So I'm gonna start posting more of those on this YouTube channel as requested as well. This is a very good question as well. Do you consider a wick of a candle as a displacement? I don't consider that a displacement. I consider a wick of a candle as more of a liquidity sweep of a short-term low or a short-term high than a displacement. For example, if you've swept London highs, you're in a premium, you've tapped into that higher time frame bearish imbalance resting above, you're seeing that displacement. If price is going to displace, it's going to have enough energy for the candle to actually close below that short-term low and see a clean market structure shift. And I've actually just released a video on this channel, so if you aren't too aware of valid and non-valid market structure shifts, inside of my free ICT Fanatic mentorship, yeah, I'm not charging 3K for no mentorship. It's all free on this YouTube channel. Every 2 to 5 days, I drop a new video. I try my best. I want to make these videos as good of quality as possible as they're going to remain on YouTube and help a lot of people achieve success. So I'm making sure I drop consistent, good quality videos every few days or so. How long did it take for you to find consistency trading the 2022 model? So honestly, when I first started, 2022 model wasn't even around. So I first started with trading the Market Maker series on ICT's channel himself. I was trading that for a few months and I found no consistency, no profitability. I was the same old unprofitable trader for a very long time. And as we neared the end of 2021, we seen the 2022 started to get released, and then I started to study the 2022 plus the Market Maker series both at one time, and I've watched the 2022 myself around 3 to 4 times, and I don't really watch any new content as of today. I don't watch the 2024 mentorship, any other videos on YouTube. I'm not in the space to learn anymore. I've simply found my model, it makes me profitable, I make money, and that's it. And that's all I need to pay attention to. There's no point trying to be strategy hopping, finding different models. That cycle of learning, it gets you in a bad place, and that's not where you want to end up. But after I started studying that 2022 model, around 6 months after studying 2022, I got my first payout of $10,000. I was over the fucking moon. To the point where I used to be at, $10,000 came through as a payout. Bro, I was going crazy. I was literally going insane when that payout hit. I could not believe it at all. And I'm sure many of you guys, 10K hit in the bank, even these days when I'm making all this money, 10K is never gonna be a small amount of money. When that first payout hit, trust me, that was a crazy experience. But I'll tell you something even more crazy. For the next 4 months, little did I know I was gonna be unprofitable. I was blowing account after account after account. Because what did I turn into? Some cocky, arrogant trader who thought that he could take any trade in any macro at any given time, and I turned into a pattern-based, trading outside a macro. All my rules went out of the window. I was just straight unprofitable, and I thought I lost it. I was like, have I lost my mind? I was like, what's wrong with me? It's bad price action, the strategy doesn't work anymore, and I was just bringing up excuse after excuse after excuse every single day. And then I realized, I finally came to the point that was me as a trader. I said, yes, I'm the problem. So I backtested for around 3 months straight, and I finally came to the bottom of it, that I simplified my strategy down to the point of only 3 macros. I trade the first day of macro at 9:45 a.m. to 10:15 a.m. I trade the second day of macro in the New York session between 10:45 and 11:15, and I trade the PM session rarely on certain specific days of the week which have red folder news after Wednesday. So usually Tuesday, Wednesday and Thursday are the days I can trade the PM session. If the AM session doesn't really move and we've had red folder that day, then I can approach the PM session on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday with red folder news. And then once I finally got to the bottom of of what I was actually going wrong at, and I narrowed it down to only 3 macros. I fixed my risk management. If I take a loss, then I only take 1 more trade. And if that next trade is a loss, 2 trades at a loss in 1 day, I'm done. I'm out. And I've never broken that rule for the past 2 years. I've never broke that rule, and I never will, because I'm at the point now where there's no point breaking those rules. Breaking those rules is only going to cost me a very, very significant amount of money, and not even that, I'll lose all my capital and progress, which I've built over the past few years. And that's how you have to think. Even if you only have one 50K account, you still need to think that. However, in fact, you need to think like that even more than I do, because you only have one 50K account. So you need to make sure you have the best risk management, the best amount of patience. And trust me, taking a trade every single day is not realistic at all. When you find one A+ setup, they usually come across, honestly, around 4 times per month. Not even that. Around 3 to 4 times per month, you get an A+ setup. And you guys are expecting trades to happen and pop up in every single macro. That's not the case. You're simply taking low probability setups. And if you have the correct amount of patience to wait for your model to present itself, use the correct risk management, the stop placement is valid, you've seen your model, don't hesitate to execute. Because I know some of you guys, you're like, is this the model? If you're like that, then you need to go back to the drawing board, because you clearly don't know what you're looking for. But if you know what you're looking for and you see it, that's it, you're in. You set your stop. You get stopped out, there's no problem. That does happen. A+ setups do fail. You're going to take losses and you're going to take wins. But the goal is to take more wins than losses. This is where risk to reward and stop placement comes into place. And let's go over stop placement quickly. So for example, what is my max stop placement on NQ? It's 25 to 30 handles on NQ. And for example, in some cases, I would risk 40 handles in a trade. And the only reason I would do that is if I know the trade has high probability and I know that a 40 handle stop is going to make the trade with a valid stop. However, if I am running a 40 handle stop, I need to be aiming for at least 80 handles for a 1 to 2. I never take anything lower than a 1 to 2, very rarely. Maybe a 1 to 1.8, very, very close to a 1 to 2. So I look to aim for my trades to be a minimum of a 1 to 2, therefore risking 40 handles. You half your position size because you're risking 40 handles and you target at least 80. So the risk to reward still has to be there. What copy trading software do I use? I simply use Tradeovate. I split my screen into 2. I have Apex on the right where I group all of my Apex accounts together. I also have my Top Step Live account on the other side of the screen as well. And some days which I choose to trade my live or my FTMO account on my phone, then I manage those accounts like that as well. Sometimes it can be a bit of a handful to trade all of the accounts at once. So I usually stick to trading the Top Step Live and also the 20 Apex 300K accounts. Could you buy me a funded account? I swear I can trade. If you could trade, you'd be making money already. And if you're in the state where you can't even afford a funded account, then you're cooked. I'm sorry, you're straight cooked. But the way to get out of that cookery, you need to find a job first. Guys, you cannot approach trading without at least $50. I mean, that's diabolical and delusional to think that you can approach an industry which turns over trillions of dollars with $0 in your bank account. So at least get a job, get a part-time job. Guys, you don't have to be working 7 days a week because then you're gonna have no time for learning and actually improving. And if you're already working a job, then you need to cut it down from 7 days a week, cut it down to part-time and really lock in and focus on this. But if you're in the state like this guy where he has no money at all, then yeah, you do need to have some sort of part-time job, have some sort of cash flow, and then you can use the spare time to lock in, focus, and study to get to where you need to be. And once you are where you need to be, then boom, you're out. You're straight on that first flight out of your country, and you're waving goodbye, and you're never going back, unless it's your family. How come you always got that glisten on your face inside of the reels? So in the morning, obviously I take a shower like a normal person. I put moisturizer on my face because I'm always in the sun, so it tends to get quite dry. And then when I film the reel, I've got LEDs in the background, so it's not glistening. I mean, that's just what I look like, so not really too sure what to say about that. And it gets loads of bitches, so I'm not going to complain. And a quick link for getting loads of bitches, guys. I'm going to put you on some sauce for those of you watching. Head over to Medellin, El Poblado. Go down that strip, 10 p.m, Friday night, Saturday night, even a Monday. You can grab at about 10 out of 10 Colombians, and you pay nothing. Nothing. Just say, hola, ¿cómo estás? You get her name? Cool. Yeah, you ask her what time she's finishing, because she's obviously working as a prostitute, right? She's got to go fuck a few old men, and then she gets back to her normal life afterwards. That's how she pays the bills. When she sees a big boss or an actual guy with status come over, then you speak to her on the side. You say, look, what time are you finishing? You finish at 3 a.m? Cool. I'll text you at 3 a.m. I'll grab you a taxi. We can go for a drink. Boom, go from the drink. Boom, done. Deal done. Business and women is very correlated. A lot of people don't really see the correlation between business and women. If you deal well with women, then you're going to be a good businessman. And the two are very correlated. So up your game with women and up your game with money and business at the same time as well. It's very, very important. And one thing that's going to take you to a whole nother level is the gym and fighting. Because if someone comes up to you and you're making loads of money and they just take it all away from you, or they violate you straight in public, in front of your goal, in front of your friends, and you do nothing about it, that's why it's very important that you are on top of your game with combat skills. I personally been training Muay Thai for the past 3 years, and I've also been training other combat sports such as boxing, jiu-jitsu in Thailand for a couple years now. I've done a few sparring matches. I was trying to find more of a professional fight for Muay Thai, but when I was in Thailand, I am 6'5", there was no one in my weight category and height category to actually fight in the area that I was staying in. So I never got down to actually doing that, but I do look forward to doing that in the near future as well. But when it comes down to the gym and actually getting big, you don't need to be that big. You just need to have a little bit of tone, you know, look like you're not a loser. You haven't got some gut hanging off the front of you. You're not got all flabby arms and everything. As long as you're somewhat in shape, you don't have to be like some bodybuilder injecting steroids. I never took nothing in my life. I take natural supplements such as zinc, magnesium, creatine, lion's mane, fish oils, stuff like creatine, then it's actually useful. It benefits you. But when it comes across to protein powder and all that bollocks, that's all marketing bullshit. If you actually want solid protein, just eat straight, lean red meat and white meats, and that's all you need. Add some carbs on the top. If you're trying to lose weight, cut the carbs down. Do 3 to 4 days of the week where you have extremely low carbs, and then you can start to introduce it towards the end of the week. That's the best way to lose weight within the matter of 7 days. Cut the carbs, your glucose levels drop, and watch the fat absolutely diminish from your body. Why is that? Your body fuels off sugar, and if it can't fuel off sugar because you cut the carbs, it fuels off your fat reserves, and it'll be gone within around 2 weeks. And a lot of people don't understand that. It's very, very simple, guys. So get shredded. When you started trading, how much money did you start with? So I started trading in 2020, and I got into Bitcoin originally. My first trade I ever took was a winning trade. And I'm not trying to like say that I knew what I was doing. Back then, I did not really know what I was doing. I just had some sort of feeling that Bitcoin was gonna pop off. I bought Bitcoin at $9,000 in 2020. I put £800. That's all I had. And I was in year 11 school at that time. And I walked into school the next day. I told one of my friends, I said, I'm all in. He said, what? I said, £800 all in Bitcoin. A few months went by, Bitcoin didn't really move. I was like, shit, I'm not getting rich. And then a few more months went by, I got around a 3x. So I was up like 2.5K. At the time, I was around, 15, 16 years old. And I did think I was rich, right? I thought I was rich. I was like, I've got 3K pounds. I was like, I'm balling. I've got loads of money now, you know? And at that age, you think that's a lot of money until you come out to places like Miami and you're spending 3K a day. And that's when your mindset really starts to switch about money. Thinking that, back in the day, I used to think a $10 Uber or going down to Subway each day was too much for me to do. I was like, I can't be doing that. That's too much. But yeah, I started trading with honestly no money. And I was working job after job. And I don't know about you guys, but I got sacked probably 15 times. I got sacked from every warehouse in my hometown. I got sacked from Amazon delivery driver for reckless driving and speeding because, I'm trying to deliver more packages than anyone. If I'm doing that type of job, they're paying me per package. I'm launching these packages. I'm driving through London at like 140 in this white van, looking like some sort of, kidnapper, doing handbrake turn. I'm pulling up, throwing that parcel at the lady's door. The lady's like, shit, that's my iPhone. I'm like, I've got money to make, you know what I mean? So, I had a rough journey, especially at the start, and without the rough journey, I wouldn't be who I am today. So I'm actually grateful that I did go through a few bad jobs, but I'm also grateful in the fact that I'm not still working that now, and I actually took action on my life, because God knows what I'd be today if I was still working that job. Probably would be hanging in the warehouse somewhere. Can I visit you from Kenya? I'm currently in Miami, so if you catch me in Miami whilst I'm here, I'm actually flying out tomorrow to the UK, and I'm flying back to the UK. Haven't seen my family in over 6 months, which is crazy. Usually I see them at least every 3 months. I'm flying back to the UK. We're gonna get a little day in the life vlog of what it's actually like in the UK. It's absolutely miserable, but I'm gonna try to show it a good time. I'll be there for about a week or two, and then I'm gonna fly out to another country. God knows where it's gonna be. I might come back to Miami. I still have this apartment here, but I'm thinking of going to Brazil, Mexico, Colombia, Barbados, the Philippines. Who knows where we're going? We're going somewhere. You guys need to tell me in the comments how to buy your course. I don't have a course. It's actually free on YouTube. I release it every 2 to 3 days. You can watch me trade live. That is an option. That is available. And I also mentor people one-to-one. But I only take on around 3 to 4 people per month. I don't want to overwhelm myself. And the people who do get mentored, I want to make sure they get the ultimate amount of value out of the one-to-one coaching. Instead of taking on 30 people like others, and the mentee who's getting mentored is not really getting that full value and seeing the full rewards out of the mentorship. That's why, personally, I only take on around 2 to 4 people per month. If you had your last lost $100, would you buy a funded account or would you put your funds into a personal account? Well, $100, you're not FX Alex, and FX Alex didn't do that, by the way. $100 to a million, that's bullshit. It doesn't exist, right? $100, I would personally buy a Top Step account, a 50K Top Step account. I would trade that account for around a month, get it funded, make sure it gets funded. 1 month later, I'll be submitting 2K payout after 2K payout after 2K payout. Every 5 trading profitable days, I'll be getting a payout. That's what I would personally do if I started. But you obviously can't do that if you're not profitable. So you need to start with the basics and stop trying to get straight to the money and actually be good at the skill and the work that you do. How many episodes will the free ICT Fanatic mentorship have on the YouTube channel? It's currently estimated to have around 30 to 40 episodes. So guys, we're going through a lot of content inside of this mentorship, and it's going to be absolutely everything that you need to know. So I expect you guys, especially if you're new, to be watching this, 3 times over until you know exactly what you're doing. And we're going to be doing live trade examples. Yes, not back testing all the time. Towards the end of the mentorship, we're actually going to put everything to test, and I'm going to trade live with you guys on the mentorship and take executions on my personal funded accounts outside of what I take with the group. So this mentorship is really going to include absolutely everything. So I look forward to making it. I look forward to giving it out to you guys for free. Someone's asked which other mentors are actually real. So apart from myself and ICT Keswick, which you guys are probably familiar with, he's a very good friend of mine for 13 years. We've known each other literally since we was about 5 years old, so I could call him my brother at this point. Apart from that, I don't actually know, and I don't speak to anyone outside of us two and one other friend. That's it. I honestly do not speak to anyone. I don't like speaking to anyone. I don't really like making new friends where I actually bring them into the friend group and we start living together. I do have obviously friends outside where I don't live with them. However, we are mutual friends, but I don't know them as a person. So I'm not going to recommend mentors which I don't actually know personally. But I mean, if you got the source and you know exactly what to do, 2022 mentorship, the Market Maker series, and all the videos on my channel, that's basically all you need. And if you apply it correctly, you're going to be profitable 100%. So this is a very controversial topic, and a lot of people are saying on YouTube some crazy numbers of 83% win rates, 90% win rates. Some months of the year you're going to be trading during the month of April, or some months your win rate actually will generally sit around 80%. And by the time you've got to the end of the year, you've traded month after month after month, then you're actually sitting around a high 59%, low 60% win rate. And that's a very honest win rate, and you make a lot of money with that win rate. And an 83% win rate does not happen, guys. It does not happen. Goldman Sachs, their win rate sits around 60%. So depending on the month, some months my win rate's going to be, around 50% or possibly even below 50. It does happen, and we could have a break-even month. And then a month where we're extremely profitable, the win rate can sit high 70s, low 80s for that month. So honestly, it depends on the month. And the months when you do make a lot of money, you capitalize. And the months when it's a little bit slow, then obviously that's when it's going to take a toll on your psychology, and you need to make sure that you're not breaking your rules. Because in the short term, near future, you're going to be making a lot of money in the next up and coming months. So when you do have a slow month, don't start trying to over leverage and risk stupid amounts on low probability trades, because in the near future, you're going to have some very clean price action, and you don't want to be in the position with no funded accounts. How to do proper journaling when it comes to all of the past trades that you've taken. I don't go on Excel and start writing down all of my past trades. I have done in the past. However, there's been a new software which has been released over the past couple of years. You guys already know, TradeZeller. And you can actually download the CVS file from Tradeovate, which is in settings. It's very easy to do. You register a TradeZeller account. I'm not affiliated. However, it's helped me a lot, especially when I was blowing account after account over 2.5 years ago when I was new to the 2022 mentorship, and I back tested the strategy, and then I realized where I was actually going wrong. You can download all of your past trades on Tradeovate using the CVS file, plug it into TradeZeller, and actually see your overall average risk to reward, average profit, loss, and start back testing all of your past trades, especially the losing trades. And sometimes, a lot of people don't really think about this that much, but some of the winning trades that you do take, they're not actually valid trades, and you just made money. But in the future, if you was to repeat them same steps, you'd actually be unprofitable. So backtesting the winning trades is also important after you've obviously backtested the losing trades. How to make new friends and new connections when you actually move out of your city and move out of where you used to live. It's very simple, guys. So it's literally as simple as if you're in a bar or a club and you're in a public place and there's people around you and you just get into a general conversation conversation. If you're in the gym, hey, what's up, bro? How's it going? Seen your content online, and possibly it's another influencer who possibly makes content. You've seen his content, or it's a female or whatever. Hey, what's up? Seen your content online. You're killing it. You're doing well. Just moved down to Miami. Simple stuff, general conversation, and then say, let's go hit a gym session together in the next 5 days or so. But personally myself, I don't really like to speak to anyone. So even if I do see someone I see on social media, you know, I don't really go speak to anyone, to be honest. If someone was to come up to me and say something, I'm friendly, of course. I'm not gonna like tell them to fuck off or whatever. I'm very friendly. Sometimes I may not look approachable, but I myself, I don't go out my way to start speaking and making new friends. But it's very self-explanatory. It's very easy. You just have a general conversation and don't overthink it. That's very simple. And that's pretty much it. Does the 2022 model work with crypto? Of course, it works in all markets, whether you're trading commodities, whether you're trading index, futures, or even crypto. It works in all markets. It's how liquidity in the market operates. Price goes towards buy side, sweeps buy side, and it's always going to be the same in any market that you trade, not just futures, not just Forex. It's going to work in all markets. What is your view on the power of three mixed with macros? The power of three is very, very important. When you identify accumulation, manipulation, and distribution where you make the money, that's it. And that is basically the 2022 model summed up as PO3. And if you pair that with a high probability trade setup and you've identified the key points which have obviously been met for you to take that trade, then you execute straight away. And the power of three is very, very important to learn. So note that down. That's something you need to know. Someone also said, I'm your fan from Dominican Republic, where some holidays around here. Well, I can't wait to go to Dominican Republic. Crazy, crazy place. The women is definitely up there with Medellin. And I forgot to mention that, you know, Brazil, Medellin, Dominican. Oh my God. I look forward to going to Dominican. I can't wait. I'll probably see you around. We'll hit the club up and we'll go crazy once I land in Dominican, 100%. Someone's asked ass or tits. If I actually had to choose between the two, it's always gonna be ass any day of the week. Tits is not really an essential piece. I mean, it's very rare that they do have both, and usually if she's already got natural ass, then the tits are gonna be fake if they are there, but ass over tits any day of the week. I literally felt the exact same way as what someone has literally wrote in this message right here. I don't have a plan and I don't know how to make it. Can you please give me information about it? So I was literally in the same situation. I was trying business after business after business and nothing was working. And that's all you have to do. That is the key. If you keep trying and you keep failing, eventually you have to win. You have to, because you only lose once you give up. If you stop trying and stop trying to essentially make it out of your current mess that you're currently in, then you're never gonna make it out. So keep studying, watch that 2022 mentorship. If you are gonna go down the trading route, you don't have to. Maybe that's not for you. Maybe going down the e-com route or getting into real estate and actually buying up and doing Airbnb, or starting an OnlyFans agency that I run myself. I haven't told you guys actually. I run an OnlyFans agency where I manage a few women as well. From Colombia, I simply grow their social media. Nothing crazy. I grow their social media. I take a cut out of the business, and that's pretty much it. They sign a few contracts so they can't fuck me over. But there's many businesses that you can run, guys. I don't just run one business. I have multiple sources of income. And when it comes to the point that you're too busy to run these businesses, you start paying other people. You say, look, I'm making this much money from the business. I'm trying to scale it to here. If you take a 25% cut, then you can start running this business for me and getting this out so it's more passively running in the side where I'm making a few decisions, but not too many myself. And that's where you need to be. But just start with one idea, something that you're passionate about, and just go straight at it. And I'm sure you're gonna get there, 100%. Never have doubt. You need to be at the point of delusional. People used to tell me all the time, they said, Miley, you're delusional. You're never gonna be the millionaire character. There's no way you're gonna make it. There's no way you can even make that type of money. That's crazy. You're delusional, Miley. And I just looked at him and I was like, no, you're delusional. I'm out of here. That's how you gotta be. And trust me, if people start thinking you're delusional, you're doing something right. And that's a real fact. You need to start looking at other people like they're crazy, not yourself. They're crazy, not you. You're the one who's actually got ambitions to do something and actually make something big. Because you're gonna make something big, not these other people. They're all losers. This is why I didn't speak to anyone. Anyone from my hometown, they haven't really done anything about themselves. They always say if, buts and maybes, or I'm gonna do this, gonna do that. Nothing ever got done. And I was sat there, I was like, I can't do this anymore. I was like, I'm out of here. And I flew out, I was out. And I really started leveling up, and then people started realizing, they was like, shit, he's made it happen. Yeah, no shit, because I kept trying, and I made that shit happen. Also, is that Lady Gaga really what gets you hyped when driving supercars? It does indeed. And I don't usually drive, you know, supercars all the time. I prefer bikes, to be honest. R1, ZX-10R, you know, fast bikes is what gives me adrenaline. I'm a bit of an adrenaline addict, to be honest, and stuff which gets me going fast, like bikes, doing wheelies, you know, dodging near-death experiences. Not saying like I've got a death wish, maybe I do, but yeah, that type of music, when you're on a bike going 300 kilometers an hour, you can't be listening to no, you know, Lil Durk or Pop Smoke in your ear. It doesn't really set the scene right. You got to be listening to some crazy upbeat music. I don't know if you guys guys know about Ziz, the bodybuilder from like 2011, but his style of music is what I listen to when I'm on the bike, just flying at like 300 with my head on the fuel tank, you know? So yeah, that's why I listen to that type of music. Yeah, it does get me pretty gassed and pretty hyped, especially when I pop a Red Bull at the same time. Mate, we go crazy. When am I coming to Medellin? I'm out. I might actually make that my next stop. So, you know, now you've said it about going to Medellin, I might have to just make it happen. That might be my next stop where I go. But you guys, let me know in the comments where you want to see these day in the lives, where you want to see me go next. Let me know, and I'll probably see you guys out there as well. I'd love to see it. Someone put winning trade today, question mark. Absolutely, we secured 115 handles. Very, very clean opportunity, straight to final TP on NQ. And we waited for 10 AM news to come out. The fair value gap was still getting respected with the mitigation. Prior to that was a unicorn model after taking internal range liquidity. Clean draw for data lows at 10 AM and also previous day low. Previous day low on ES got taken. I closed that fully on NQ. Lovely, lovely trade, easy gains. And once this really starts to click, guys, it really is like that. You see the model, you take it, and you just rinse and repeat. Realistically, how long should it take to pass a 50K prop firm account? So honestly, depends which route you're going to go down. If you're with Top Step, it's going to take a little bit longer because you have to trade Top Step evaluation accounts a little differently than Apex. With Apex, you can go long short on 2 different Apex accounts and blow one of them, pass one of them. So all in on both, long short, and you know, 90% of the time, if you do it at the New York Open, you're going to pass one of the accounts and they go straight to passing. The other way is trading them normally, obviously, and with Top Step, you have to trade them normally. And that process with a little higher leverage, instead of trading 10 micros, trade 15 micros. So say you usually trade 10 micros on that account, I'll be trading at least 15 micros on that evaluation because I don't like to sit around ever on evaluations. If I'm ever on evaluation, I go straight through the evaluation phase very, very fast and get straight to funded. So use a little higher risk, and if that account blows, then it blows. Such as risk management on evaluations doesn't really apply, such as halving your risk when you take a loss. Just keep trading that account. If it blows, just buy another one. Get straight to the funded part where you're making money. It will take around 2 to 3 weeks to actually pass that Top Step account if you trade it normally, just with a little higher risk, depending on the account size. All right, guys, I hope you have enjoyed this Q&A filmed over in Miami, flying out tomorrow. And if you have enjoyed, make sure you smash up the likes, subscribe because you may not see me again. Comment where you want me to go next and what you want to see in the next video. Any requests, I'm taking on board, and I can also include it in this mentorship that I'm dropping. And until next time, guys, have a great rest of your evening or morning where you currently are. I'll speak to you guys shortly.